They never take a break. Never stop working for justice. Never stop protecting you. Now it's your turn to return the favor. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kristen Flum, and thank you for joining us for this LEX18 Bluegrass Crime Stoppers special. Back in June, we aired our first Crime Stoppers special highlighting the history of the program, its effectiveness in the community, and offered ways that you can help as they continue tracking down the bad guys and solving cold cases. We got a great response, and we're hoping to reach even more members of our community this time around. Crime Stoppers got its start in New Mexico back in 1976. Police there were investigating the murder of a college student and turned to the local media for help. Crime Stoppers was created and quickly used across the nation. Lexington implemented the program just 11 years later in 1987. In a joint effort combining community board of directors, law enforcement, and media outlets, Crime Stoppers creates a safe and anonymous way for people to report tips or any type of information that could lead to an arrest. Every Tuesday on LEX18 News at 6, I'll have your Crime Stoppers report. And on Thursdays, we air Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. In most cases, police are able to provide pictures or surveillance video in hopes that you may recognize the person. And there are several ways to report tips. You can send a message through their website, bluegrasscrimestoppers.com. Use your cell phone to send information by texting TIPS 2020 plus your tip to crimes 274637. You can also call the Crime Stoppers tip line at 859-253-2020. Thanks to your tips and information, police have been able to crack thousands of cases in the program's 27-year history. Here's a breakdown from this year's statistics and the program's total numbers. From January 2014 to August of 2014, Crime Stoppers has solved 2 rape cases, 108 overall. 17 armed robbery arrests have been made, 323 since 1987. We've solved 21 theft cases this year, 660 total. They've caught 23 fugitives with a staggering 777 arrests spanning over the past 27 years. 37 rewards have been paid out this year, with a total of 2,073 rewards since the program started. And this year alone, Crime Stoppers has paid $12,550 in rewards and nearly $500,000 overall. Bluegrass Crime Stoppers is a nonprofit organization. This program does not receive government help, meaning that your tax dollars are not involved with the program. But your donations can help. Donate using your credit card or PayPal account. Just log on to bluegrasscrimestoppers.com and press the donate button on the homepage. Several arrests have been made after airing Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. Crime Stoppers, with the help of other law enforcement agencies, was able to track down a wanted murder suspect in Detroit. J. Ron Nickerson is charged with killing Vince Happy in the parking lot of a Lexington strip mall back in February. Police worked with the U.S. Marshal's Office in Michigan to find Nickerson. His case is now in court, and the latest update is that Nickerson has entered a not guilty plea to the murder charge. One day is all it took for police to make an arrest in a home burglary. Crime Stoppers shared video captured on a home security camera showing 2 men who found a key under a mat and let themselves in before taking off with thousands of dollars worth of the couple's belongings. But a twist in the search for suspects. Just minutes after our Crime Stoppers report aired, the tips started coming in, but it was actually the 2 suspects who beat everyone to the punch.
We aired that footage and had received multiple tips on it after the footage was aired. However, prior to receiving those tips, we'd actually been contacted by the attorneys of the 2 subjects who had seen themselves on the Crime Stoppers information that we put out to the public and wanted to turn themselves in.
Police say 22-year-olds Logan Whitaker and Taylor Hall, one a UK student and the other a BCTC student, saw their pictures on the Crime Stoppers report and wanted to come clean.
That's why this program is so great for the community, is because it, even though we received multiple tips from individuals in the community, these individuals were able to see themselves and be preemptive almost and turn themselves in.
Freedom was short-lived for a man after a pair of robbery investigations at the same gas station. Billy Humphreys had just finished serving a 9-year stint in prison for prior robbery charges. It seems old habits die hard. Humphreys was caught on camera holding up the Town Branch Center Shell Station off Leestown Road. Employees had their first run-in with Humphreys July 14th. They say a man dressed in all black with his face fully exposed walked into the store pretending to buy cigarettes. When the clerk opened the cash drawer, police say he lifted his shirt, implied he had a weapon, and demanded all of the cash before taking off. Less than a month later, on August 10th, police say Humphreys showed back up to the same Shell station. Thanks to tips sent into the robbery homicide unit, police caught up with Humphreys. Crime Stoppers teamed up with U.S. Marshals to catch a Lexington woman wanted for several violent crimes. Brittany Goins had an outstanding robbery warrant in Fayette County and is a suspect in several strong-armed robberies and auto theft cases that extend into Nicholasville. Norman Watkins was the Crime Stoppers' most wanted person of the week 2 months ago. Lexington police say thanks to our report that aired on August 17th, they were able to track his whereabouts to a home on Loudon Avenue. Officers say Watkins and another man escaped through a trapdoor in the house. Officers were later tipped off to another home where they found Watkins hiding inside a couch. And a few other notable arrests. Cameo Clark was arrested for second-degree burglary. Jason Wallace was wanted for several burglaries spanning from Fayette to Scott County. Jesse Lee was arrested, charged with receiving stolen property. Tanya Fry made the wanted list in May for receiving stolen property. We aired her picture again during our LEX18 Crime Stoppers special in June. She's now in police custody. An arrest in one of Crime Stoppers' wanted person of the weeks from July. Kevin Anderson was arrested for second-degree burglary. Dominique Williams has been caught, charged with receiving stolen property and fleeing and evading police. Jeremy Lester was wanted for second-degree assault in a stabbing investigation. Police were able to track him down to a home in Lexington. And finally, an arrest made from a most wanted report last year. Tips to Crime Stoppers helped them track down Billy Van Landingham, wanted for a felony count of receiving stolen property. Do you have any information on any of the crimes that we've featured or wanted persons of the week? Your tip could earn you a $1,000 reward. Just give Crime Stoppers a call at 859-253-2020 or log on to their website, bluegrasscrimestoppers.com. Also be sure to keep an eye on their Facebook page for updates and information on pending investigations. Welcome back to this special edition of Crime Stoppers on LEX18. This system is a completely safe and anonymous way to help law enforcement make an arrest, which translate to safer communities for our families. Pay close attention. Here are a few more cases that have yet to be solved. Through his teen years, he might have been a little misunderstood. By the age of 17, El Hajre had been kicked out of nearly every high school in Lexington, but later lucked into a group that took him under their wing and helped him realize the potential that he had. Eventually, he got his GED and, thanks to an impressive score of 28 on his ACT, earned a scholarship to UK where he was majoring in math.
You're talking about an individual who was very, very involved with the Nation of Islam, very involved on campus life, a lot of social groups.
But Ray never graduated. On April 3rd, 1999, at the age of 23, police found him shot to death inside his Northland Drive apartment after friends reported they hadn't heard from him in a few days.
I'm shocked. I'm surprised. I mean, what would it be? I'm right next door and I didn't hear a thing.
Homicide detectives say there were no signs of a struggle, no signs of a robbery.
It implies that somebody that he knew or was comfortable with having inside the apartment was inside and essentially committed the murder and then locked the door behind him and left and took the keys with him.
15 years have passed. The case sat cold. The hope now is that Crime Stoppers is the key to putting Ray's murder to rest.
Somebody out there knows something, and maybe back then they weren't comfortable with coming forward with information, but we're hoping that since some time has passed and we're bringing some new light to the case, they'll feel comfortable talking to investigators.
A mother whose son was killed in a hit and run is still pleading for help. It's been 3 years since Lance Newby was killed in a North Lexington neighborhood. Detectives want to bring the family justice and hope that you can help. Lance Newby would have had another birthday this fall. It's just one more celebration he's not around to see since his death in 2011, a case that's still unsolved.
He was here with me every day. My yard would have been cut if he was here. and it's hard. It's real hard.
His mother can't rest. Her mind still wanders back to that morning when she held her dying son in her arms on Winburn Drive. Lance had walked up to catch a bus and was supposed to be right back, but he was hit by an SUV that drove up on the curb, then took off.
To me, it seemed like it was done on purpose. There was no accident. If it was an accident, they would have stopped.
We've already made pleas to the public years ago when this first happened. And now, basically what we're doing is we're trying to revisit this case. It's a cold case at this point.
And police are doing something that they've not done before. Thanks to Crime Stoppers, they're able to offer $1,000 to the person who calls them with the name of the person driving the SUV that November morning.
Just please come forward. You don't have to tell your name.
Lexington police have partnered with U.S. Marshals to turn up the heat on a fugitive murder suspect on the run since July. And investigators now think Jeffrey Morris has left the city. It's been almost 4 months since the murder of Anthony Carter near the intersection of 5th and Chestnut. The 47-year-old was shot to death around 6 o'clock in the morning back on June 11th. Since then, investigators have pinned Carter's death on Jeffrey Morris, who apparently lived in that area.
There was some type of altercation here in the street, and Mr. Morris was on a bicycle when the shooting occurred, and then fled the scene.
Detectives came up with Morris's name in the weeks after the murder. Since then, the 30-year-old has gone off the radar.
We have information that he has been in Lexington recently, but may also be in Louisville or Cincinnati because he has ties there.
Morris, say police, has to know he's wanted. We featured him as a fugitive in a report from July. Now the U.S. Marshals are involved and have partnered with Crime Stoppers to trade you cash for your information on his whereabouts.
We've done the hard work of getting him identified, getting warrants out for him. Now it's just time that, for the family's sake and the sake of this community, that we actually get him behind bars.
For the third time in just a few months, a Lexington Speedway gas station has been hit by thieves. Police have made arrests in 2 of the cases, but have turned to Crime Stoppers to try and close the book on the most recent one. Back on June 19th, long after the doors were locked at this Tates Creek Road Speedway store, thieves went to work. And while there were no clerks inside, there were eyes watching.
It looks like they're kind of casing the place, seeing what's going on inside. The business is actually closed.
After figuring out a game plan and confirming they were alone, the 2 came back with a rock and an empty box. The rock shattered the front door, and within minutes they'd filled the box full of stolen tobacco products totaling upwards of $500. Because their faces are covered, police don't have a very good description of the 2, but you may recognize them for what they have.
These are items that if somebody were to see them in a home, it's not something that would normally be in there.
And police think even if this is their first time up to no good, it is probably not their last.
Normally when we see one like this with a very specific MO, going after very specific merchandise, you can almost guarantee that those individuals, if they're not caught, are going to go after the same type of merchandise in another store, another location.
Less than a month later, a violent robbery at another Speedway gas station. This is video from inside the Euclid Avenue store around 1:30 in the morning back on July 17th. The cashier told police she noticed the man in the video carrying a backpack and putting items from the beer cave and other aisles of the store into his bag. He eventually came toward the counter with a 6-pack of beer and appeared ready to pay for that item. But when she confronted him about the rest of the things he'd put in the backpack, he turned violent, ran into the parking lot, threw a punch that hit the female cashier in the face.
Obviously he has no regard for who's watching, or it appears he's not even worried about getting caught. He's not concealing his identity. He just commits the theft and of course assaults her during the process.
We want to thank our sponsors, Bates Security, Lynn Imaging, and Monster Color for supporting the Bluegrass Crime Stoppers organization. It's not too late to become a sponsor or make a donation. Just log on to bluegrasscrimestoppers.com for more information on how you can get involved. Good evening, I'm Kristen Flum, and thank you for joining us for this special edition of Crime Stoppers on LEX18. We want to remind you we are always looking for sponsors, and it's never too late to help out an organization who helps the community. Here's some more cases police need your help in solving. An unusual case of identity theft at a Hamburg area bank. This is the face of a woman who is up to no good, say police, but very good at the crime she's committing.
People do this for a living. They sit at home 24 hours a day thinking of ways to defraud people. It's their job to create false IDs and false identities.
Detectives say she came prepared back on May 7th when she walked into the PNC Bank on War Admiral Way and asked to withdraw $7,400. And when the bank teller asked to see 2 forms of ID that matched the name on that account, this woman showed a driver's license and a MasterCard, both with the victim's name. Police say both were made somehow by the woman in the photos.
After the fact, we're contacted by the victim saying that that was not me that withdrew the money. And so review of videotape confirms that that's not the victim.
In fact, the actual woman who owns the account still had her driver's license, says she never had a MasterCard. It's an interesting identity theft case, say police, who usually don't have a face to put with the crime.
This particular instance, we do have an individual that we're trying to identify and find out what these motives were, find out how they obtained these documents and how they gathered the information to come to this bank and withdraw that particular amount of money knowing that it was in there.
Could a man caught on camera using a stolen credit card be behind several thefts at Lexington fitness clubs? Police won't know for sure until they identify him and bring him in to talk. Back on June 21st, someone went on a pricey spending spree at several stores in the Nicholasville Road corridor, all paid for with a credit card that police say was stolen out of a gym locker.
We have been experiencing an elevated number of these type of locker room thefts. This one in particular, the victim has almost $10,000 worth of charges run up on their stolen credit card.
Lexington police say right after the card was stolen, the thief went to Walgreens, J. Crew, and Macy's, where they say he charged about $6,500 in the jewelry department buying expensive watches before also hitting the GameStop on Reynolds Road.
Amazingly, this individual was able to kind of skip around some of the cameras at most of these places.
But not all. The camera outside the GameStop store captured the lone image of the man that Lexington police have to work with. Identifying him is what they need your help with.
Hopefully, if we can identify who this suspect is, we'll be able to link him to other crimes of its kind at maybe not just the Beaumont Center Y, but other gym locker rooms around the city.
Bluegrass Crime Stoppers covers Fayette County and 6 surrounding counties, including Madison, Scott, Clark, Woodford, Bourbon, and Jessamine counties. Sometimes cases spill over to different states. You're looking at surveillance video captured at the Richmond Road Verizon store May 29th after 3 men wearing hoodies pried their way in through the back door under the cover of darkness.
They're actually pulling a garbage can, which they use to load phone accessories from inside the showroom. They fill the garbage can up, and you can also see them exiting, lugging the garbage can out full of phone accessories. Inside
the garbage can, over $500 worth of cell phone accessories, things like chargers that they can easily sell on the street. Since the break-in, detectives have heard from several other jurisdictions that these 3 may be part of a larger ring.
This is part of the larger investigation that goes into other states as far as the Midwest, all the way down the eastern seaboard.
With their faces only seen for a split second, detectives hope that you recognize clothing or some mannerisms, and maybe it'll lead to something much bigger.
What we're trying to do is identify these individuals in Lexington, hoping that they will lead us to the individuals in the other states that have done the other burglaries.
Police say they are confident 3 recent pharmacy burglaries were all done by the same man. 2 of the holdups from Lexington and 1 in neighboring Jessamine County. Investigators say he could be wearing a disguise and they want to catch up with the robber before he strikes again. If his pattern is any indication, the man who's hit 3 area pharmacies is about due to hit again. And if he does, Lexington police want you to be armed with his description because next time around it could be easier to spot him.
They all say it's curly hair or a wig with curly hair, a cowboy hat, brown in color. And a lot of times he's wearing sunglasses either when he enters or exits the store, or sometimes even when he's in the store.
Here he is August 7th, robbing the Kroger pharmacy in Jessamine County's Bella Reeve Plaza. He stays at the counter for several minutes while the pharmacist loads a bag full of the pills he demanded. The man in the cowboy hat did the same thing around 10 p.m. July 24th at the Meyer Pharmacy in Hamburg, and a 3rd time at the Sarin Drive Walmart Pharmacy August 29th, where cameras snapped this photo.
The note is relatively the same in terms of the demand the suspect implies, but doesn't show that he has a firearm.
What concerns police is that he's getting so comfortable, and in 2 of the cases, doing it at busy times of day.
Obviously, this is a potentially volatile situation. You know, if somebody doesn't comply or something goes wrong, a lot of these things are during the day where there are customers and children in line behind him.
So keep your eyes peeled, and if something doesn't seem right, call police. Help Crime Stoppers fund future rewards by signing up for the Community Rewards program through your Lexington area Kroger store. Register your rewards card online and specify that you'd like a portion of your purchase to go toward Crime Stoppers. For more information on how to sign up, log on to our website, LEX18.com. You don't have to have tips or information to help Bluegrass Crime Stoppers. In fact, you can help this nonprofit organization by simply becoming a sponsor. They also hold 2 major fundraisers a year to raise money, and as always, donations are always needed. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can donate to Bluegrass Crime Stoppers online. Just go to bluegrasscrimestoppers.com and click on the donate button on the home screen, and you can pay from your credit card or PayPal account from home. Thank you for joining us for this LEX18 special of Bluegrass Crime Stoppers. We hope you'll join the fight to keep our community safe. Log on to bluegrasscrimestoppers.com to learn more about the program's history. Take a look at the Wanted Person of the Week and Crime Stoppers reports featured right here on LEX18. On behalf of Bluegrass Crime Stoppers and LEX18, I'm Kristen Flum. Good night.